Rise and shine, it's a brand new day with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it, my dear friends. From politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Welcome, everybody. We have a ton of news today, a lot of conspiracy theories for I have no reason. And welcome, MLS. You were first. Congrats. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing your Modly Mod duties. Welcome, Fun Diane and Tammy Bogard. Let's see here. Jedi Jess, thanks for lurking. And Theresa Angel, thank you for joining us. So our first story is about DB Cooper, and we may possibly finally know his identity because his kids narked, y'all. The kids narked. Welcome, Cup of Joe. I don't know why this bothers me, but it does. I'm like, why did the kids give the evidence over to the feds? I was like, that's your dad. Why are you going to do that? The children of convicted skyjacker Richard McCoy II believe their dear old dad may have been DB Cooper, the notorious and notoriously unidentified central figure in the 1971 unsolved skyjacking. It's the only one in United States history, in fact, without an answer until perhaps now. Just months after the Cooper incident, McCoy was convicted of an incredibly similar skyjacking that also included a parachute jump. His children, Shantae and Richard III, Rick, have long thought the clues added up. They may now have evidence to back their suspicions. Shantae and Rick had kept quiet out of consideration for their mother, Karen, who they believed was potentially complicit in both crimes. But as both parents are now deceased, the opportunity arose for the siblings to come forward with their suspicions. And crucially, they seem to have hard evidence, a modified parachute that they and amateur DB Cooper sleuth Dan Greiner believe was used in the daring escape. Quote, that rig is literally 1 in a billion, Greiner told Cowboy State Daily after releasing a series on YouTube about his suspicions. It was that YouTube series, Greiner said, that drew the FBI back into the case. According to him, the FBI now has the parachute and harness that were once tucked away in a storage shed on the family property in North Carolina, along with a harness and skydiving logbook that Shantae claims shows DB Cooper's movements near Oregon and Utah, locations of 2 skyjacking events. This is the first real movement from the FBI on the case since the Bureau closed it in 2016. Even if some former personnel claimed it's mainly remained secretly opened, after they received the new evidence, the FBI showed up with the family and searched the property where the parachute was stored for 4 hours with more than a dozen agents. Yeah, see, no good deed goes unpunished. You tell the feds you might have caught, your dad posthumously doing shenanigans, and they're like, we're going to come here and destroy and toss your property for Marca. I'm just kidding. I get the need to maybe, get this case solved, but maybe it's the Dale Gribble in me. I just don't trust anything when the feds are involved. And willingly inviting them onto my property just seems like a reason to get, convicted of a felony ridiculously easy. Let's see here. The unique alterations to the parachute may hold the key to new evidence, to the new evidence value in the 50-year-plus case. The FBI shows the original parachutes that were altered by Earl Causey, a veteran skydiver who was working with the FBI until his unaliving in his home in 2013. See, work with the feds, you get unalived. I'm sure correlation is not causation, but the Dale Gribble in me says there was a reason. He had secret information about Hillary Clinton, too. If the new find matches what they already know, it could provide a boost in the search for the real D.B. Cooper. The D.B. Cooper case has taken on a borderline mythological quality, with countless theories posted by amateur sleuths online, in books, and in documentaries. One 1990 book, D.B. Cooper, The Real McCoy, even claimed that McCoy was the culprit, but the book was pulled from print after Karen sued, claiming libel. On November 24th, 1971, D.B. Cooper, as he called himself Dan, but the media misreported the name as DB, paid $18.52 in cash for a one-way ticket to Portland and boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 without offering any identification due to lack of regulations at that time. Holding a briefcase and a paper sack, Cooper passed a note to a flight attendant seated halfway behind him through the flight and whispered that she better look at the note since he had an explosive device. Cooper opened his briefcase to reveal what appeared to be an explosive device and relayed his demands for $200,000, multiple parachutes, and a refueling truck waiting in Seattle so he could take off again, bound for Mexico City. After Cooper's demands were met, the scheduled 30-minute flight extended into a 2-hour loop over Puget Sound while ground crews prepared. Cooper released the airliner's 35 passengers and some crew members, then dictated the flight path and aircraft configuration to the remaining crew, demanding specific speeds, flap angles, and more. With these negotiations complete, Cooper and the 4 remaining crew members took off again. Somewhere over Washington, Cooper then opened the rear staircase and parachuted from the plane, but the exact location and timing of the jump is unknown. Immediate searches revealed no evidence, and over the years, experts have been unable to determine an exact search area due to the multiple variables involved in the night jump. One of the only real pieces of evidence left by Cooper was the $1.49 clip-on tie from JCPenney, which the FBI still holds. Sleuths have sued the government for access to DNA and particles left on the tie, but to no avail. Having the actual parachute would expand the evidence in the case by vast amounts. McCoy is an intriguing suspect, one who was later passed over because many FBI personnel had come to believe that the real D.B. Cooper died in the jump by the time McCoy surfaced as a possibility, and McCoy didn't exactly match the physical description, as he was much younger, 27 years old at the time, than the original estimated age of Cooper being in the mid-40s range. McCoy would have had the chops to commit the famous crime, though. He proved it in April 1972 when he successfully pulled off a skyjacking of United Airlines flight, demanding $500,000. He boarded the plane in Denver and was able to get it diverted to San Francisco, have his demands met, and force the plane back into the air. McCoy then jumped from the plane over Utah and was arrested by the FBI within 3 days, thanks to an anonymous tip. Karen, I see you there. His wife called him in, y'all. That tip then led to the FBI to a waitress who remembered serving him a milkshake at a roadside hamburger stand the night of the skyjacking. The teenager who said McCoy paid him $5 to give him a ride to a nearby town. Eventually, they were able to match his fingerprints to ones left on the demand note. McCoy was arrested after FBI raided his home, and he was convicted and sentenced to 45 years in prison, but eventually broke out of a maximum security prison and evaded capture for 3 months until he was shot by the police in Virginia in 1974. The parachute offers the best chance at evidence and could potentially link McCoy to Cooper. This, Grier said, will definitely prove it was McCoy. So there you guys go. We may know who D.B. Cooper actually was after all, which would be kind of interesting. But I like the mystery better. I like to think that he thumbed his... He's an anti-hero, I get it. You should not skyjack planes. You should not jump out of planes. But he has taken on this sort of thumb your nose at society anti-hero status. And I kind of feel if we find out who it is, it's going to lose a bit of that mystery. But, I am but one person on the interwebs, and I'm sure everyone else wants the mystery solved. So, speaking of conspiracies, we have all of the conspiracies. Everyone is getting into theories about what happened to Hannah Kobayashi. Cults, hackers, kidnappings, wild conspiracy theories may have sparked a tragic twist in Hannah Kobayashi's missing person case. The mysterious case of missing Hawaiian photographer Hannah Kobayashi has been marred by wild conspiracy theories, including that she was brainwashed by a cult. Are Hare Krishnas still a thing? I'm just asking for a friend, because I used to remember them. Well, I would watch Airplane a lot, and I remember the Hare Krishna, and I always wanted to meet one in the airport, and I have been increasingly disappointed that I've never met one Hare Krishna person trying to tell me to give up my life and find nirvana in the airport. Yes, I'm a weird person. I have weird bucket lists, but one day I will meet one Hare Krishna. I just will. Including that she was brainwashed by a cult or blackmailed by African hackers, and they may have literally driven her father to his death, her aunt said. Cops said that Ryan Kobayashi, 58, took his own life, after a fruitless search for his daughter. Ryan's manner of death was ruled, self-deletion, and the cause was found to be blunt force trauma. Obviously, yes, you would receive blunt force trauma if you jumped off of a parking garage. And it's a terrible case. Look, I get the drive as a YouTuber to want to have the first scoop, to want to get the first, shot at a story, to want to be, speculative and give your opinions. But there are real consequences when you don't tell people that these are opinions. These are real lives. These cases involve real people. It's not a game. You can't just spread out wild things and, have all of your believers spread that out and let it proliferate. At least not if you're a responsible person on YouTube. And I think some people, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that, this is not shade, but I do think that some people tend to go with the sensational and don't have any facts behind it, and these theories get a life of their own. And there are real people involved in these cases, so you have to be so careful with what you put out there. The devastated father was likely consumed with raging online speculation about his little girl, with armchair experts theorizing about her alleged ties to a mystic cult called Twin Flames. Holy hell, we're bringing twin flames into this? A possible rift between father and daughter, and even a psychotic breakdown. Quote, "It's bullish. It's such bullish," her aunt, Lori Pigeon, told the Post on Monday. "If Ryan is looking at all of this ish, imagine that weighing on him. He broke," she continued. "He died of a broken heart. We were tirelessly searching, and Ryan was a big, giant teddy bear. He's sensitive. Imagine looking in places like Skid Row, imagining his daughter being trafficked, not getting sleep. He just broke," end quote. And we know the story. Hannah flew from Maui to Los Angeles on November 8th. She was meant to take a connecting flight to New York City for a trip to see her aunt. She and her ex-boyfriend had been planning, the trip, but they agreed to go their separate ways in the Big Apple. Her sister, Sydney Kobayashi, told CNN last week. But the budding photographer never made that second flight, and in the coming days, bizarre text messages were sent from her phone. Quote, deep hackers wiped my identity, stole all my funds, and have me on a mind F since Friday, one text to a pal said. Another said, I got tricked pretty much into giving away all my funds for someone I thought I loved. She sent the aunt in New York City a text. I just finished some intense spiritual awakening, Pigeon said. Hannah was last heard from on November 11th, and her case has since gone viral, with internet sleuths surmising her whereabouts in the depths of Reddit and even in comments on her Instagram account. She'd been brainwashed by cultists, some said, like the notorious love-obsessed faction Twin Flames. Also the subject of a disturbing Netflix docuseries, Hannah's Instagram account shows that she followed Twin Flames associated accounts, but Pigeon said she never mentioned the group. Others claimed that she was blackmailed by African hackers. Still more alleged that Hannah was fleeing her not-so-nice father, while others said she was kidnapped by mobsters because her dad owed money. Some even claimed that her father was the one that engineered the abduction. It's people wanting more out of the story than that the world is cruel and evil and a woman traveling alone can get taken in the blink of an eye, Pigeon said. Pigeon believes that her niece was kidnapped while trying to book a flight at the airport, and the strange text, which she said sound nothing like Hannah, were either sent under duress or by the kidnapper. The family is loving and close, said Pigeon, who lives in Northern California, and she spoke with Kobayashi on the phone several times a week, and she never seemed distressed or mentally unstable. Everything was normal until the 11th. We're that kind of family that if you F up, you ask for help. She wouldn't hide something. There was no big strife within the family, she said, and Kobayashi was not involved in any cults. Her father didn't owe any money to gangsters. Her niece definitely did not kidnap herself. But Ryan's tragic death has only egged on further conspiracy theories. Quote, I can't imagine a parent truly wanting to find their child, okay, this is dumb S. Listen, let me come over here to Mama Mo, Redditors, because this came from Reddit. How dare you sit behind a keyboard and not lost your child, not know where everything is? Do you want to know that the first thing that any parent feels when they can't find their kid in Walmart, even though 99 times out of 100 they're going to be in the next aisle over or hiding under garment racks? You start mentally thinking of the most terrible things that could be happening to your child right now. You go to the worst case scenario. Someone snatched them. Are they hurting my baby? All of these things run around in your head. And he had 14 days of this crap running around in his head. So how dare you sit back on your keyboard in your comfy little room, with the heater on or with the AC on and your Mountain Dew on the side and fucking comment on the heartbreak of a father, the hopelessness, the darkness that he felt in that moment. How dare you question his motives, you useless piece of crap that does nothing in the world but put your hot takes out on Reddit. How about do something useful in your life and help people if they're down? How about, acknowledge how incredibly tragic this is and remind people that there are places that they can talk to and be open and let people talk to you if they're in a dark place. But no, you decide, I'm a smart Redditor and I'm going to go tell my opinion because everyone needs to hear it. If there is one evil that the internet created is that everyone thinks that their opinion, their hot take is worth merit. Remember when we used to keep these thoughts inside our heads because we kind of realized they maybe weren't great for discourse and they kind of sounded a little cunty? Excuse my French. But no, how about you keep your hot takes to your freaking self about this? How about that, sweetie pies? Now I know if people did that, Reddit would collapse into a giant crater of festering boil of the darkness of the internet that we don't need. And I would be okay with that. I would kind of be okay with that. Sorry, rant over. I'm just, I have, I read the comment and I'm not going to read it out loud, but basically it was questioning why, if a father wanted to find his child, he would make this drastic choice. Because he's imagining every minute, every second, the evil, horrible things that really do happen in this world happening to his daughter, and he can't help. Every moment of his days while he was searching for her, he was imagining his daughter screaming for her dad. That's why. You myopic moron. In other news, well, in a possible, hit against the bail reform system, a man on bail for attacking and kidnapping mom is now a suspect in the murder of an opera singer. A Colorado man out on bail for allegedly laying hands on and kidnapping his mother is now being hunted as the likely armed and dangerous suspect in the murder of professional opera singer. Cesar Lorenzo Wilson, 53, was already being sought since August for skipping court for the attack on his mother, who said he, quote, just went crazy, end quote, and locked her in her home after laying hands on her, then threatened to pepper spray the cops during a 1-hour standoff, according to an affidavit obtained by the Denver Gazette. Last week, cops identified him as a suspect in the murder of Hallie Abrege, 54, a University of Colorado voice instructor who was found dead inside her Colorado Springs apartment on August 7th, when Wilson was free on bail from the earlier arrest. He is wanted for second-degree murder and should be considered both armed and dangerous, according to local authorities. Abrege, a native of Iran, was found with at least one stab wound, according to authorities who have not released the exact cause of death. Police have not speculated on a possible motive or if the two even knew each other. Wilson was already facing charges of second-degree kidnapping as well as assault and harassment for the attacks on his mother on July 7th, a month before his court no-show. The mom said that her son just went crazy and started laying hands on her during a conversation about their family, then dragged her back inside when she tried to leave. He locked all the doors and taped the windows. The mom, who has not been identified, managed to eventually sneak out a back door, climb over a fence to raise the alarm. When cops arrived, Wilson refused to let them in and threatened to pepper spray them before he finally came out after an hour. He was released on bail but failed. Okay, how the hell can you have a standoff with the cops, threaten to pepper spray them, and they're like, that'll be $200, sir, and you're free to leave this jail? I mean, how in the hell do you get bail after a situation like that? You have obviously shown that you might be a danger to yourself or the community. I thought that, we were supposed to be bailing out people that, in theory, have a lower statistical risk. I am confused. He was released on bail but failed to show for court on August 12th, 5 days after Abrege's, look, I am butchering her name and I apologize, ma'am, rest in peace, murder. She was a critically acclaimed singer, actress, and voiceover artist, according to her university biography page. And this is what he might look like now. He has shaved his head. So if anyone is in the Denver area, obviously don't approach, call the police, that kind of thing. She joined the facility of the Department of Visual and Performing Arts at University of Colorado in Colorado Springs as the head of the voice program in the fall of 2015, according to the university's website. A GoFundMe has been set up to raise money to cover the funeral expenses for Abrege. She noted that she was a dedicated daughter, sister, friend, performer, teacher, advocate, and so much more. Helea's life was a testament to her passion for the arts, human rights, and her commitment to family and friends, the fundraiser said. She leaves behind a legacy of courage, creativity, deep condolences with those who knew her, as well as the family and community that mourn this profound loss. They hold on to the memories of an incredible person that she was. So be on the lookout if you live in Colorado. Don't approach, but I can't imagine that you would be able to have basically an armed standoff, because pepper spray would be considered a weapon by some DAs if you used it in an attack. So that is shocking to me. Well, I guess, if you are an unlikable heifer who has, a lot of fights with your next door neighbor and you seem genuinely unlikable, you might not get that downward departure on your trial or your sentencing that you thought. Susan Lawrence is sentenced to 25 years for the fatal Florida shooting of a black mom of 4 over a feud with kids. Now, I didn't watch this trial, but just the little snippets that I have seen, she seems like a dour... Look, she seems like the lady in Wizard of Oz that stole Toto, okay? That's the vibes I got from her. And, ma'am, if you act like the Wicked Witch of the West, no one is going to be on your side for a downward departure. Sympathy is not engendered by being what we like to call a cahoot, if you will. A Florida woman who, shot her neighbor, a mother of 4 young children, over a long-running dispute about the children playing outside her home, was sentenced to 25 years in prison Monday. Susan Lawrence, 60, claimed that she was acting in self-defense when she shot an unalived 35-year-old A.J. Owens. But the judge and a jury in Ocala, Florida, found her guilty and did not buy her excuse. Yes, well, you can't generally shoot someone through a door because you're scared, because the door is there. Now, if they're prying open the door, you can see their face, the door is about to go, there might be a question with this. But no, when the door is fully closed, that's a no. Quote, "The shooting was completely unnecessary in this case," Circuit Judge Robert Hodges said during the afternoon hearing. "The shooting, I find, was based more in anger than in fear." She was convicted of manslaughter in August for the shooting death of Owens after she fatally shot the single mother through her front door on June 2nd, 2023. The two had argued for years over Owens' kids playing in the grassy area but near both of their homes. I mean, this looks like I thought they were going to show the home, but it looked like it was a duplex situation. And this is the unfortunate mom who lost her life. And those 4 kids are now going to have an empty hole, with the holidays coming up, with everything. How your mom is your example of how to be a good person, how to be nurturing and loving. Your dad generally is there to, make sure you understand the rules and make sure you don't get fresh with mom, because if mom goes off, it goes crazy. So on the day of the shooting, Owens was yelling and banging on Lawrence's door after the children said the woman chucked an umbrella and roller skates at them, which Susan denied. After she shot Owens through the door with her, force multiplier, she told police that she had feared for her life. But jurors disagreed as the evidence of at least a 3-year-long dispute between the neighbors was presented at the trial. In a 911 call over a previous dispute, Lawrence told the operator, "I am just sick of these children," and officers had responded to at least a dozen calls related to the ongoing feud since January 2021. Other neighbors said they overheard Susan say nasty things to the children and that she was always angry at the kids who were playing on a field near her home. The jury took less than 3 hours to convict her. She faced a maximum of 30 years behind bars, but Hodge showed some leniency on account that of evidence that the 60-year-old suffered from mental health issues and had been not treated well as a child. Susan apologized to Owen's family in a statement, but the judge stuck by to the judge, but stuck by her self-defense stance, saying she was literally terrified of the mom. So I wish I could go back and change things so she was still here, but I never intended to kill anyone. Owens's children, some of whom witnessed their mother's horrifying unaliving, are now in the sole care of their grandmother, Pamela Diaz, who says they are still traumatized. Well, hell yes, who wouldn't be traumatized seeing your mother lose her life right in front of you? We're hurting with a pain that will never ever go away, Diaz said. There's a hole in our heart that will never mend. Susan destroyed our family. The judge also noted the impact of Susan's deadly actions on the four siblings. They'll live their whole lives without their mother, which I think is a very significant harm inflicted by Susan. The case drew outrage and protest amongst the Black community in Osceola, about 80 miles northwest of Orlando, after it took prosecutors weeks to charge Susan. Yeah, this case seemed to be a clear-cut, not self-defense case. You can't say, it's like Sarah Boone saying that Jorge terrified her to death when it was a little hand doing kind of a thing from the Addams family trying to get himself out. Well, looks like Diddy isn't going to get all the turkey and the trimming. I mean, do I feel bad? Not really. Diddy will have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for Thanksgiving during dinner in jail. And I'm okay with it. Sean Diddy Combs will celebrate Thanksgiving from Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center after being arrested on charges of, we all know what he was charged with, baby oil, sir. Breakfast starts at 6 a.m. every day and will consist of fruit, cereal, and breakfast pastries on November 18th, per the planned Thanksgiving Day food menu from the prison that people obtained. Lunch is typically served at 11 a.m. at Brooklyn's, at the detention center, and it will include, wait a minute, I was told he'd only get peanut butter and jelly. Will include turkey roast or hot and sour tofu. All right. Traditional Turkey Day sides like mashed potatoes, mixed vegetables, cranberry sauce, turkey gravy, and dinner rolls will be served. Plus, an assorted holiday pie will be available too. The prison offers peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, potato chips, and on whole wheat bread and fruits for dinner, which is served around 4 p.m. Okay, so he gets a Thanksgiving lunch, which I guess I'm okay with because I'm trying to be better with my wrath and my, affinity for the table flipping Jesus. You know, I think we learned from the Richard Allen case, or at least I did, that there are a lot of reforms that need to take place in the prison system. And, looking at maybe more of the Nordic model where we give the prisoners who can be reformed, who can, improve themselves, a space where they can do that and be treated like humans. So I'm okay that Diddy gets, I would make him get sour and sweet tofu because that just sounds, ugh. But we need to treat people like humans, even if they're prisoners. And I'm trying to get more into that because if we treat people like monsters when they're in prison, they'll come out as monsters. Now, I firmly believe that there are some people that will just never choose right, even if you drop them right in the middle of like do right metropolis. They would just wander on out to hell no, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do town. But oh, I've got a new fan member. Well, I try. Anywho, that's just my pontificating. You know, I'm just a small YouTuber. I don't have a big soapbox, but I think offering a little bit of human kindness to people in prison, trying to understand their stories, and weeding out the people that can be rehabilitated and not, I think would be a much better choice for our country. All right, well, apparently, if you don't say hi, you get hands laid on. You should say hi. A man assaults a woman watering her plants because she did not say good morning to him. Well, I mean, sadly and oddly, this actually is a better motivation than a lot of the other cases. I mean, it's still a dumbass motive, but it's better articulated than a lot of the reasons that we get for anything. I mean, has Sarah Boone given any reason that's articulable and logical? At least this is okay. A man will spend 2 years behind bars because he assaulted a woman and tried to run her over in his car after she failed to respond to him when he said good morning to her, prosecutors in Massachusetts said. Superior Court Judge Michael Doolin on Monday found a 33-year-old Ian Atkinson guilty of assault and battery and assault with a deadly weapon after a 3-day bench trial, according to the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. Police responded around 9 a.m. on July 13, 2023, to the woman's home on Balsam Street in Dorchester after the assault. She told cops that she had just been watering her plants in the front yard when a man she didn't know, later identified as Atkinson, walked by and said, quote, "When people say good morning to you, you should say, hi, you crazy B word," end quote. Emily Post, eat your heart out. The new rules of etiquette are here. She began to record him with her cell phone after he had gotten into a nearby black Mercedes. Atkinson proceeded to exit the car and lay hands on the victim. He reportedly punched her in the face before throwing her against the fence, prosecutors said. The victim was able to fight off Atkinson after she bit him. Hells yes. Then he went back to the car and drove it toward her, nearly hitting her. Then he fled the scene. When cops arrived, the victim was bleeding from a broken nose and had bruises throughout her head and face, according to prosecutors. Detective identified Atkinson through video and learned that he had been wearing a GPS monitor from a previous arrest. Ding, 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 we have another bail reform reject. Officers arrested him a few days after the attack. Quote, "For this victim, a pleasant summer morning descended into a violent and cruel ordeal for the most inexplicable of reasons. But even as she was being attacked, she had the presence of mind to record a video, and that decision, along with her brave testimony, provided enough evidence for the judge to make his decision. I join all members of the community in thanking this survivor for her courage." Well, that's great for, her courage, but he's got 2 years. He'll probably get time for good behavior, time served. So he'll be out in 3 months. I mean, I hate to be black-pilled at this point, but why do we keep releasing people that are definitely a threat to society? If you guys need a new kind of palate cleanser to watch between trials, a new Eagle camera is going live in Minnesota to the delight of global viewers. So we get to have more Eagle Cam, which I'm good. Eagle lovers around the world who were crushed by the live stream collapse of a nest housing 2 birds and their chicks will get another viewing opportunity when a new Eagle Cam goes live on Thursday. The new cam, operated by the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources in a different location, will show a different nesting pair, the agency announced Tuesday, but the DNR will also keep its old Eagle Cam running because the old pair built a new nest about a half a mile away and still visit their old territory. They've been seen there as recently as Friday. The old camera had viewers in 50 states and around 160 countries around the world, in homes and classrooms and nursing homes, according to Lori Newman, a spokesperson for the DNR's non-game wildlife program, which runs the cameras. The old nest was home to a pair that the viewers unofficially nicknamed Nancy and Bo until it collapsed during a heavy snowstorm on April 2nd, 2023. The female bird flew off as a branch supporting the 2,000-pound nest, which was over 20 years old, gave way. The chick was unfortunately not able to make it. There was an outpouring of grief in popular Facebook groups that followed the pair, and members of those groups expressed excitement at this news Tuesday. Newman told reporters that they've often had thousands of viewers at any given time before the nest collapse, especially during the pandemic as homebound viewers went online to get their nature fixes. Minnesota has the largest eagle population in the lower 48 states, building nests even in urban areas. The pair at the new undisclosed location has a nest there for 4 years and has reared several broods of eaglets. Newman said officials aren't sure exactly how long the nest has been there or how many chicks the parents have hatched because they haven't followed them closely yet. Both cameras will go live around 6 a.m. Central Standard Time Thursday on the DNR website and the agency's YouTube channel. There isn't a lot of activity at the nest at the moment, though that will change. It's not really breeding season right now, she said. We're expecting them to start bringing new branches and new nesting material into the nest over the next several months when their courtship behavior will start ramping up. And when that happens, they will actively build the nest together, showing their dedication to each other and their worthiness of being a partner. If only we could learn from the eagles. The female is expected to lay 2 or 3 eggs sometime around February, and they'll take about 35 days to hatch. Both adults are typically, responsible for the care of the chicks, constantly bringing them food to satisfy their enormous appetites. As for Nancy and Bo, the DNR doesn't name the animals it follows, and it wasn't feasible to run power to and install a new camera at their new nest, where they successfully raised 2 chicks last season. So the agency launched an extensive search before settling on a new, more accessible location with a healthy tree. They installed the camera in early October at a total cost of about $5,000. Minneapolis-based XL Energy provided the bucket lift truck and other services to set up the new camera at no charge, as it did with the original. The Eagles serve as ambassadors for the non-game wildlife program, which is supported by direct donations and voluntary checkoff on the state's personal income tax form. Its funds range a wildlife project across the state to benefit struggling species. The cameras are going live on Thursday to leverage a statewide charity event, although the government agency, the DNR, is not an official participant. So there you go. Chick Cam is back. Eagle Cam is back. We can all go back to watching our favorite show. Well, it doesn't look good for Disney. In the wake of the Snow White trailer bombing spectacularly, when you can look at the downvotes, and people being quite upset with that particular live action, looks like Captain America Brave New World will have to be reworked yet again after the film fails another test screening. At this point, it seems Marvel will need a legitimate miracle if they want Sam Wilson's upcoming solo flight to do better than crash land, as a new rumor suggests that the struggling Captain America Brave New World is set to be recut yet again due to the film failing another test screening. The word of the next Marvel Cinematic Universe entry's latest stumble was first raised to the public on November 25th, courtesy of noted scooper Daniel RPK Richmond, in a post shared to his paid Patreon account, as recapped by numerous news outlets, including the Marvel-centric Twitter account at Marvel Updates. He claimed that Captain America Brave New World was currently being changed due to another negative test screening. He further noted at current, quote, "It seems unclear if this will include another batch of reshoots or simply re-editing." I have a question. I know I'm not as nerdly or comic bookly as, some people, but how can he be Captain America if he didn't take the super dude juice? Like, if he didn't get, a little injection of superhuman, whatever that stuff is, that made Steve Rogers from 90-pound weird camera trick Steve Rogers to, muscle-bound Chris Evans, who is attractive until he opens his mouth. Anywho, I don't get it. I really don't. I'm trying not to be, because I don't know the source material, so maybe there is a reason that he could be Captain America. I just thought he was really good as Falcon. Why don't we make a Falcon solo movie? I don't understand why he has to be Captain America. That being said, I haven't seen a Marvel movie since Endgame, the final ending, so I could be wrong. Now, it does seem, and I tend to not get political, but it does seem that the allegedly in Scoopville and speculation territory, that the evil guy that turns into, Red Hulk is a bit of a Trumpian figure. And I don't know who is less enthusiastic to see a movie in the form of political preaching after the, long year of political commercials. I am ready to watch something completely not about that. So if this is true, if Disney is planning to do the Message trademark, then I don't think it's going to go well for them. I think people are tired of being preached to. They just want to watch a movie that takes them out of this world and is actual escapism. Escapism is not taking and making everything an allegory for current day. Escapism is, oh, I get to go see Willow and Val Kilmer in long hair and semi-shirtless, and then also dressed up as a chick. And I get to see, Warwick Davis do magic. I mean, Willow, we used to have movies like this. We used to have movies where you went in and you go to see the Dark Crystal and life, disappears for an hour or two. And, maybe it was dark for a children's tale. Jim Henson, I'm looking at you. The movies you created in the 80s for children were dark. Dark AF, okay? But Hollywood is completely missing the point. We don't need to be taught. We don't need to be preached to. We understand that you dislike most of us in the flyover states. We get that you look at us with something more or less veiled contempt and, moral superiority. But we just want to be entertained. That's all we want. We don't want allegories of current day. We don't want every single current issue. We just want to be entertained. Tell us a good story. I don't care if it's from a completely different viewpoint than one I would have of my own. Tell an interesting story. Look, no one likes Glenn Ross, okay? No one likes Alec Baldwin in that show. He's a douche. But you watch it because it's an interesting story. You're really not supposed to relate to Michael Douglas in Falling Down. He's, in theory, the bad guy, but you get what he's doing. You get his point. I mean, daggone it, Hollywood, stop remaking stuff. Stop making soulless and heartless remakes and give us a good doggone story and we'd actually go. To be fair, I do totally relate to Michael Douglas, but you're not supposed to. I really would like Hollywood to get back to telling interesting and amazing stories. I doubt they can do that. In other sad news, looks like the Blue Man Group is hanging up their, blue body paint. After 30 years, no more Blue Man Group. I remember when these guys first came out, and they look just as creepy as they used to. They blew off their hometown. The Blue Man Group, the long-standing and beloved off-Broadway show, will end its 34-year run in New York City in the new year. The show, which involves mime-like voiceless bald men painted head to toe in a vibrant shade of electric blue with a lot of drums, will deliver its last hometown performance on February 2nd, managing director Jack Ken announced. The Blue Man Group is unlike anything else in the world and is undeniably one of the most recognized and successful entertainment productions because of the hardworking cast, crew, and creative team, Ken said in a statement. It was because of them that these shows captured millions of hearts night after night, and we give our utmost thanks. The theatrical, percussion-heavy show that blends physical comedy with paint splattering and was created in the Big Apple in 1991 has had 17,000 performances at Astor Palace Theater in Lower Manhattan since then. After its success in New York City, it expanded to other cities including Las Vegas, Orlando, Boston, Chicago, and Berlin, as well as a touring show and a Norwegian cruise line show. Blue Man Group was acquired by global circus company Cirque du Soleil in 2017, which helped with expansion into new markets. The Blue Man Group will also end performances in Chicago on January 5th, while it will continue in other cities. The company did not give a reason for New York and Chicago closures. It's also possible that both the New York show and the Chicago show's final performance could be extended, as often happens with these things. The end of Blue Man Group shows in the city comes about 2 years after another New York off-Broadway institution closed its curtains for the final time. Stomp, a wordless percussive show using found objects, ended its 29-year run after 11,475 performances on January 8, 2023. The show's directors cited declining ticket sales for its decision. So, I feel bad. I never saw them. I remember when it started being a big thing, and I was just confused by it. Look, I get confused. Now, I did like Stomp. I thought it was loud and it was, all the sort of things that you never thought would make music. I did like it. It was a little too loud for me, not gonna lie. I wouldn't go to a theater. It's too many people, not peopling. That's not what I do. In our final story, and I don't know why this tickled me so much, and I probably shouldn't be encouraging this because South Korea does not play when you try to get out of your duties. But the fluffy chicken me kind of that failed basic training totally got this story. A South Korean man convicted for deliberately gaining weight to evade military service. I mean, that is one way to try to get out of military service. Look, I'm sorry, I am retaining Mike and Ike's. Once I figure this out, I will totally be back for recruitment. But right now, it is a mystery akin to those on Scooby-Doo, and I just cannot find the culprit. A South Korean man has been sentenced to a suspended prison term for deliberately gaining more than 20 kilograms or 44 pounds to evade a tougher role in the country's military conscription system, a Seoul court said on Tuesday. In South Korea, all able-bodied men must serve in the military for 18 to 21 months, but individuals with health issues can instead carry out other duties at non-military facilities as well as welfare centers and community service centers. If their problems are serious, they are exempted from their military duties. The Seoul Eastern District Court said it sentenced the men to 1 year in prison, suspended for 2 years for violating the country's Military Service Act. The court said an acquaintance of the man received a 1-year suspended prison term for aiding in his crime. Was he bringing him the Kentucky Fried Chicken? Was he just like, eat it? Eat it. Here's some heavy cream. Here's some frosting. Eat a tub of frosting. Like, what? His friend was like, here, no, don't have one Slim Jim. Have 180 Slim Jims. Local media reported that they are friends, both aged 26, and the court said it couldn't confirm the reports. An exam in 2017 found the man suitable to become an active duty soldier at 169 centimeters or 5 foot 6 inches tall, weighing 83 kilograms or 183 pounds. But with the advice of his friend, he thought he could get social service if he was overweight, so he doubled his daily food consumption, focused on eating high-calorie food products, and quit his part-time job as a delivery worker, according to the court's public affairs office. Sir. In 3 exams from 2022 to 2023, the man weighed 102 to 105 kilograms, or 225 to 231 pounds, a weight that made him fit for social services. Just before those exams, he drank a large amount of water as well. Why didn't you just wear ankle weights, dude? Come on now. For the love of all that is Cheetos. It is unclear how the crime was caught and whether the man began serving his military duty before he was tried. The court only said that the man had promised to fulfill his military duty faithfully. The court said both defendants and prosecutors didn't appeal the November 13th ruling. South Korea maintains a military conscription system due to threats from rival North Korea, but exemptions or dodging military services is a highly sensitive domestic issue because the draft forces young men to suspend their studies or professional careers. Each year, about 50 to 60 cases of dodging military duties have been reported, according to the Military Manpower Administration. It says common ways to evade military duties include gaining or losing weight excessively, or men with health issues not taking necessary medical treatments before physical tests. So there you go. Apparently you cannot fluffy your way out of South Korea's military. There, you learned something new. The more you know. I need to clip that when I figure out how to clip that. But thank you guys so much for joining me for going through the news and doing all the fun stuff right before we get to turkey time, which is really why we're here. I need to make sure that Mr. Mo took the turkey out of the freezer and put it into the refrigerator so it can start thawing, or it needs to be in the kitchen sink right now. So I will be sending one of my children to go check on that so we actually have a turkey to cook. I am redirecting you to my stream at 1:30. You guys don't have to stay there. Just put the notification on. I will be going over the new Netflix documentary, episode 1 in the John Bonet new docuseries that they have. I will tell you guys, I was able to dictate single-spaced, 14 font, 14 pages of notes. So as always, I'll have a lot of opinions, but you guys can come in just for like Cliff Notes version. I do think that at this point, at episode 1, I do not know what the producers want me to think or their personal opinion. I do like that approach. I am only on episode 1, so I will watch episode 2 tonight, dictate the notes, and try to put out something tomorrow. But I do want to see, because they did sort of hype this up as a new sort of revolutionary sort of docuseries, which for marketing purposes, I totally get. Welcome, Shizzy Raiders. I am about to sign off, unfortunately. And just a note to everyone out there, if you do not have your turkey on a slow de-thaw thing about today or tomorrow, you're going to have issues. Never put a fully frozen turkey into the oven and expect it to cook. You will end up with shenanigans and heartbreak. That is my only Thanksgiving Day, message for everyone. Do not try to cook a fully frozen turkey. It will end badly. I only did it once. It was a terrible, terrible day. Have a great rest of your day. I will be back with you guys at 1:30 going over the new JonBenet Ramsey Netflix case documentary, seeing how I like it, giving you guys my personal opinions. If you don't have Netflix, it will be kind of a frame-for-frame rundown of it, so you will feel sort of like you got to watch the episode too. But there you go. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hope you have a great day. And if you have to go out to Walmart for any reason, God bless you. Because I have to go to pick up food, because between doctor's appointments and, getting food, I feel like I have given birth to a herd of medically compromised locusts sometimes. It's just like, where is all the food? And you need another doctor's appointment? I will probably do that as well. I need to figure out how to get Netflix on my computer, which is, I'm sure, very easy, but I will use Mr. Mo because he's married and contractually obligated to help me with tech stuff. It was, in fact, one of our vows. I'm just kidding. Just like mine was for richer or richer, because I've already tried poorer and I've decided I just don't like that as much. Mr. Mo did not find that very funny. I found it hilarious. Bye, you guys. I'll see you later.